Hey everyone, Reese here, and welcome to Reese Rambles, the second channel of Control-Alt-Reese. And this is my channel where I put all sorts of unscripted and lightly edited stuff, longer videos, as well as like the crazy little live stream videos that I make for other projects and collabs and that kind of stuff as well. So basically, anything goes, anything that doesn't fit on the main channel. And this video today fits into that category. So I thought, why not put together an unscripted, very lightly edited video all about this box that I've been given, if you haven't already guessed from the thumbnail and the title. So the story behind this is basically in my day job I run a software business, and we rent an office from a big customer of ours. They're quite a big player in the e-commerce business. We've been with them since day one, but I think that's probably a story for another time. But we look after their website, and they have an employee called Becky who works in their customer services department, and she actually discovered my channel fairly early on. I think she found me through Instagram, and she asked me to take a look at a Game Boy cartridge for her, which was a copy of Super Mario Bros. 2 that she'd had since she was a kid. And I didn't make a video about it at the time, just because it was a quick 5-minute job. But yeah, I cleaned up the contacts on that with some contact cleaner and changed the save battery in that. Got it all working for her, gave it back to her. She was really happy with it. And yeah, so, you know, I see her around. With, you know, occasionally say hello to each other. Sometimes she pops into the office to ask us to make changes to the website or to complain that something's broken. And yeah, the other day I was working away. I work on site with another customer of ours quite a lot, and had a message from my employee Tom saying that Becky had popped in and left a box on my desk with a mysterious note. Now I have had a very quick look in here. I did just check it out, and obviously I've seen her since and said thank you and all that kind of stuff. But apparently these are electronic components that belonged to her boyfriend. I'm not quite sure why they're surplus to requirements now, but his loss is my gain, I guess. So not 100% sure what's in here. Obviously, I've got my laptop ready just in case we want to Google any part numbers or stuff like that. I've noticed there are some chips and things in there. But I thought it'd be fun just to have a look, maybe try and work out what his hobby was specifically, what he was into, whether it was old computers like me or perhaps something else. Work out what some of this stuff is, and of course, if it gives you any ideas for projects that maybe I could do with this stuff, you know, or if there's anything particularly special in there that obviously, you know, well, we'll see. We'll see. So, yes, and yeah, sorry, I'll try to stop doing the Barry Lewis thing and looking at the screen at the side of the camera, but it is mighty tempting. I'm in full-on budgie mode at the minute, but anyway, right. So, this box, let's start. I have the overhead camera up and running and ready to record. This is a setup that I've never really tried before, so it's another kind of experiment, perhaps something that I could do on the main channel at some point in the future. So, switch to the overhead camera. So there's a note on top of the box, and it says, "I didn't know if you could use these or not. If not, you can throw them away or give them back. Becky." Smiley face as well. So yes, thank you, Becky, for the very kind donation. I don't know if I can use them or not. I guess that's the purpose of this video. We'll see if we can work that out. So let's take a look inside and see what we have. Right. So first things first, I can see that we have some chips in here, all stuck to a piece of polystyrene. Very nice. That's yep, it's my preferred method for chip storage as well. So. And what have we got in here? We've got TC4053, we've got some, so we have got some part numbers. We've got a 74 LSO4, 7400 series logic, and LM339. I think that might be a, is that an op-amp? Let's just have a quick look on the laptop and see if we can find some information on that. LM339. It's a quad differential comparator. Okay, so that's not what I thought it was. We've got some other stuff here. We've got, hopefully you can see those part numbers on the overhead camera there. I'll just see if I can focus on that. So see if we've got some interesting part numbers. We've got this SAA5012A chip here. SAA5012A. Okay. Description, integrated circuit. That's useful. Oh, IC is for digital systems in radio and television receivers. Remote control transmitter encoder. A remote control transmitter encoder, okay. So perhaps he was into like radio and TV stuff. That's interesting. Let's have a look at this TC40538BP. TC4053. Oh, sorry, TC4053BP. General purpose logic, so that's just a multiplexer. Okay, so we've got some basic logic chips here, and there's a 2 here, and the print on the top is very faint. I think they're quite old and faded. They're both made by ITT, and there's a DPU 2553S, DPU 2553S. DPU 2553S semiconductor, CTV deflection processor package. CTV deflection processor package DIP 40. Okay, there was certainly a DIP 40. A CTV deflection processor. So that's from a CRT, I guess. Okay, that's quite cool. And a PVPU 2204. The other big chip on there, CTC video processor. Interesting. So what I will do with these chips is I'll put all of the model numbers up on the screen, and then, well, the part numbers, sorry, I'll put those up on the screen, and maybe we can Google some of them and see what some of them are. But seems like these are either just standard logic and multiplexer type chips, as well as a couple of these. One of them is obviously a TV infrared remote encoder, deflection thingy from a CRT, and a CTC video processor. So I guess these are all from a CRT TV. So actually, potentially quite useful for the kind of stuff that I do. So very interesting stuff. That's a good start. Off to a strong start. Right, how long have we got left on the camera? The overhead camera will only record for 15 minutes at a time as well, so I need to keep an eye on that. And obviously, if it's about to reach the end of its recording time, I have to stop it and restart it, which is quite annoying. But anyway, so obviously, the next obvious thing that we can see in here from the overhead camera are these 1/4 watt resistors. And I must confess, I'm not very good at reading the colour codes to get the values. I always have to look them up. Yeah, so there's potentially some quite useful values in there. It seems he doesn't write them on the thing like I tend to do. So should we look this one up? What's this? Brown, black, yellow, gold. Can anyone tell me what that might be? Brown, black, yellow. Yeah, brown, black, orange, is it? Brown, black, orange. I think if you type these into Google, it actually tells you what the value is. No. It's all right, I've got one here anyway. So brown is 1, black is 0. And then we've got a multiplier of 1K. So that's a 10K resistor. I should have recognised that. That's quite a common one. Okay. And we've got some other ones in here. I guess they're quite common, useful values. Always good to have resistors in stock. So that's really cool. So, good start. Very strong start. We've got some TV-related ICs. We've got some nice resistors. Always useful. So let's see what's next. So we've got Ferguson. That's a brand I remember from back in the day. Made TVs and that kind of stuff. Oh, this bag's well and truly disintegrating. It's evidently quite old. Looks like we've got some capacitors in there, quite some small ceramic capacitors. Don't know if this is brand new, if this is new old stock or what. Let's see what the letter says. Just check that there aren't any, if there isn't any identifiable information like a name or something. Oh, this has obviously got damp at some point. I guess one of these capacitors might have leaked. Obviously not the ceramics, but there's a couple of the chunky boys in here. Yeah, that's been wet at some point and it's all stuck together, but it's a timer display inoperative, model 3V23. And faulty operation of ceramic filters CF1 and CF2 cause absence of the timer display. So that's probably from something like a VCR maybe. Interesting. So we've got TV and potentially VCR, and of course there was that remote control encoder chip thing as well. So yeah, that's just a list of the components in that bag. 3V23. Ferguson 3V23. Should we... Let's have a look at that as well, see what that is. Oh, it's a VCR. Okay. Ferguson Video Star. That's a classic, that is. I'll stick a picture of that up on screen so we can see what it is. Absolute classic looking VHS unit there. So cool. Very cool. I wonder if all of these bits are from that then, because I've just spotted there's this coax, and that's brand new and sealed in the bag as well, and that's like a coax splitter or filter or something like that. It's got a male connector on one end, a female on the other, and there's a short male to female cable as well. And I wonder what's in that box. Well, as that's sealed, I know... Yeah, no, it's really silly, but the collector in me tells me not to open sealed things if we don't need to, so... And I can't see any part numbers or anything on that. It's got a big 5 on it. I don't know if you can see that moulded into the case. Big number 5. Maybe a... when Channel 5 launched in the UK, I know there were some TVs and stuff that couldn't tune into it. Maybe it's something that... something that expands the frequency range that... I don't know, so people could pick up Channel 5. It's not really my area of expertise. I know when we had the analog Sky, the satellite TV, back in the early 90s at home, they launched a new range of channels and they actually sent out a little switchable box that we could plug into the set-top box that actually gave us those extra channels. So maybe it's something similar to that. I don't know, but yeah, that's quite interesting. We have an empty bag. Oh, it's not empty. It's got something. Oh, it's got a transistor in it. A CBC639. Oh yeah, BC639 transistor. Okay, that's cool. And that is a spare part for all of these various things. I guess that's quite a common value. And there we go. If we can just wiggle it into place, we can see it through the little window there as well. So yeah, nice transistor. Brand new transistor in a bag. Whatever next. So yeah, sorry if you can hear some strange noises in the background. The washing machine's on, and I think it might be dying somehow. So maybe there is a washing machine repair video in my future. But anyway, let's soldier on. So we found some VCR parts and some TV parts, potentially. And now we've got a plastic bag. Probably don't need to look at every single thing in here. But what we do have, we've got some really high... value resistors. These are, aren't they? These are out of TVs. I've seen these before in fact, in my micro VTech Cub monitor for my BBC computer. I actually had to change a couple of these because one of them had burnt out. Well, I don't know if it burnt out, but it certainly had evidence that it had been very, very hot at some point and scorch marks on it. But that's a brand new one, and I don't know if they even make those anymore. Okay. And these are out of TVs, so that's quite handy. And then we've got, that's an interesting looking component. What's that? Oh wow, 100. Oh, that's a proper old school resistor. That is. So that's a 100 ohm. Just check you can see it on the camera there. Yeah, they're 100 ohm resistors apparently. They must be really high voltage. So again, probably something from CRT. That's cool. What's this? No markings on that. Again, probably some kind of resistor. There's corrosion on a lot of the legs on these components as well. Like they're quite old. They've been hanging around for a while. We've got. I think that's a MOSFET there. Yeah, I think that's a MOSFET. What's the part number on that? BF458. Oh, ECB, yeah, so, yeah, transistor. And then just spotted in the bottom of the bag down here, got some big... these these regulators, or are they MOSFET 7808? Popular voltage regulator. 8 volt. Okay, 7808. So, oh yeah, I suppose the 7805 is the 5 volt version, isn't it? So 7808 would make sense. That would be the 8 volt version. And we've got another one. I can't quite make out the number on that. T76395, something like that. Anyway, that's another voltage regulator. And yeah, just looking through this bag. Like I said, I don't really want to look at absolutely everything in here, but that is a chunky boy, isn't it? So is that an 8433? Some kind of voltage regulator, or I don't know what that is. Or maybe it's TIP33. It's a Texas Instruments, I know that much. TIP33A. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a big transistor. Nice. NPN power transistor, of course it is. It's a power transistor. So again, that's probably from a CRT. And again, that's brand new. So that's not even been used. There's some really interesting stuff in here. And this is all stuff that's actually potentially quite useful for me as well. So that's really cool. Look at that. Chungus. 22 microfarad, 1000 volts. So that's obviously a capacitor. RS, made in England. That's proper old school, that is. Again, some more, got some electrolytic capacitors. Rubicon, that's a good brand, isn't it? But 350 volts, 10 microfarad. Again, looks like new old stock. What's this one? 1000 microfarad, 25 volts. Again, looks like new old stock. Oh, we got some of these. I love these. Do love these. Let's grab a couple of them out of the bag. Always fun to look at. So these old, I think these are germanium transistors, are they? I think you get these in like guitar pedals and audio equipment and that kind of stuff. So I think they're germanium transistors, or perhaps they're just transistors in quite a high power package, maybe. I'll just show you those. And yeah, more and more of the same in this bag, I think. Loads and loads of components. They all look unused. Some big capacitors, big resistors. Let's take a look at... Oh, look at that. It's another chunky one. That's probably the biggest ceramic capacitor I've ever seen. Look at that. That's weighty. Lovely. It obviously has some age to it as well. You can tell by the patina on it. Plane just flying over. Sorry about that. So, yeah. Loads more stuff in this bag. I don't suppose we need to go through every single component. It looks like there might be a note or a piece of paper or something in there as well. What's that? Oh, it's a bag. Oh, it's something sealed in a bag. It's a BZX79 B186, whatever that is. Looks like a diode, I think. Looks like potentially some kind of diode. Anyway, I'll pop all of these back in the bag. Keep it all neat and tidy, but yeah, potentially some really useful stuff in there actually for the kind of stuff that I do. So yeah, that's quite cool. Loads of nice old components and some stuff that probably isn't even made anymore, so that's always really useful to have. So let's continue our exploration of the box. Looks like we're getting towards the bottom, and looks like there's some really big stuff in there, so that's cool. I like big stuff. When you play with old computers, you don't get much of an opportunity to play with really big stuff like big capacitors and that kind of thing. You have to kind of you know, get into CRTs and amplifiers and that kind of thing. But anyway, first thing out of the box is this. Looks like a brand new, it's got the price on there, £9.80, and that's Thorn EMI again. It says Akai on it. Obviously the Japanese brand, Hi-Fi, known for their music production equipment stuff like samplers and samplers and synths and sequencers and that kind of stuff, I think. So, I don't know if these are brand new. And we've got an NEC D552C. We've got a pair of those. Let's have a look and see what that is. D552C. eBay. I'm still on... why am I on image search? Microcomputer. A 4-bit single-chip microcomputer. Oh, wow. So that's like a 4-bit CPU. Is it? That's so cool. Four-bit single-chip microcomputer with high-voltage outputs that can be pulled to 35 volts for direct interface into vacuum fluorescent displays. Of course, the VFD type displays used on like old VCRs and stuff, so I guess that's what that's from. So that's quite cool. Very interesting. I'll put that back in the box properly once I've finished recording the video. I don't suppose you need to watch me do that. The other obvious thing that stands out on the overhead camera, we'll just get this out of the way. Obviously that's a chunk of, I'm going to assume a VCR now, based on the other stuff that we've seen. That looks like it's your RF modulator type stuff, or is it a demodulator if it takes an incoming RF signal and turns it into you know, digital or whatever used internally by the VCR. VCRs record in they record the chroma and the luma tracks separately on the tape, I think. I'm not sure. So they take RF and split it out to that, and then obviously perhaps that's not really of much interest. I don't know if there's anything salvageable on there, but still interesting thing, I guess. It tells the story. So this guy's obviously into like TV and VCR repair and that kind of stuff. I think that's well established by this point. So a very large transformer. I'll take that out of the bag. This very large transformer. I don't know why I'm showing you on that camera. Yeah, so that looks cool, doesn't it? 0407, and that has quite a long part number on it. 3PML201570A0. I'm not going to bother searching for that, but that's quite cool. Although that said, oh, I see. Okay, I was going to say it's only got 2 wires coming off it, but it has got like bolt, like screw terminals on the bottom as well. So I guess that's how you hook that up. Oh, another loose chip in the bottom. I guess that's fallen out of the other stuff. TDA 4503. Small signal combination IC for black and white TV. Black and white TV. Wow, okay. TDA 450. Yeah, well, it makes sense that it would be a TV related thing, but I'm guessing that was shoved in here. Oh yeah, you can kind of see where the legs were. That's obviously been shoved in there with the others and fallen out. So perhaps all of this stuff came from the same... Although the infrared remote, obviously you wouldn't expect a black and white TV to have an infrared remote, would you, back in those days? So maybe they're not all from the same thing. And finally, just kind of rattling around... Oh, I say finally, we've got some... apologies for that. We've got some crystals, I think. Timing crystals are these. 5.03 megahertz by the looks of it. And 3.57, that's one I've come across before. So obviously like power timing crystals for, yeah, again, probably from a VCR or a TV or something like that. I think that's, yeah. So that's cool. Obviously these have been bought as a package for a specific repair job for something. And then we've got, this feels like a voltage regulator. So we've got 2N5496, or perhaps the top one's the part number 14109G. That's a bath. 2N5496. It's a transistor. So yeah, NPN transistor. Okay, brand new one in a bag, new old stock, very cool. Another one of these very large resistors. Ballast Resistors, I think they are. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to save that one for last actually, because that looks very interesting. So we've got some Rubicon Capacitors, 25 volts, 2200 microfarad, some big boys. We've got these two in this rather fetching green colour, mini-can, electrolytic, British made. I don't know if there are any factories in the UK still making stuff like this, are there? Plessy mini-can, electrolytic, British made. 22 microfarad, 350 volts. And again, they look brand new, and they're obviously axial capacitors. So yeah, they're quite rare these days. You don't often see those. And then we've got some of these. I say some of these. We'll take a look at this one first. So this is an ITT. This is 2200 microfarad, 40 volts DC. So that's just a, again, brand new old stock chunky capacitor. It might be worth testing these and seeing if they actually work anymore. Probably. I know capacitors kind of leak and go bad when they're actually used in things, but do they go bad in storage? There's certainly no signs of leakage, but you never know, I guess. And so, finally, of course there are a load of loose resistors in here, probably not of much interest. But finally we have these, and I've seen these before in valve amplifiers. So that one, yeah, it looks like the print's kind of worn off, that one. Although again, it does look brand new. But for the purposes of explanation, we'll take a look at this one. So this is a Siemens Al-Elco B41306B9477T, 470 microfarad, 100 volts. And yeah, the interesting thing about this, this isn't what I thought it was actually. Okay, well, so this has 3 legs on it. And my understanding of these 3-legged capacitors is that they actually, the way the electrolytes kind of, not the electrolyte, the plates inside them are kind of wound around. Well, not even plates, are they? They're kind of paper, aren't they? Anyway, they basically have 2 capacitances. So you can tap into it. Obviously, you've got a common ground, and then you can tap into it in 2 different places and use the same physical capacitor for 2 different capacitances, I think. But you would expect both of them to be marked on there if that was the case. I have seen one of these in a valve amplifier before, and I assumed that that's what that was as well, but I can't really read what it says on it. So yeah, another interesting one. It'd be interesting to get the tester out and see what the values are of that, if anything. In fact, should we test it? Let's test it.
A few minutes later.
Found it. Right. Sorry about that. Unprepared. Right, so this is the component tester. Just one of those cheapo, cheap Chinesium eBay component testers. So let's get this under the overhead camera so we can take a look at it and test some of these components out. So there it is. I don't know if that's in focus. Probably not. Doesn't look it. I think that's the best we're going to get. Right. So, that said, I don't know if it's possible to plug this into it anyway. Okay, well that thinks that nothing is a capacitor, so that's useful. I did say it was cheap. That's not going to fit, is it? What a waste of time. Right. So, can we clamp those legs in? We can. Testing. Doesn't know what that is. Okay, well that's perhaps not surprising. So that was between the one labelled negative and the number 2. So I don't know if we can't go between 1 and 2, can we? So let's plug this in. It's like watching a monkey try to use a stick as a tool for the very first time. I promise I know what I'm doing. You know what? That's not going to plug in. And it doesn't like it anyway. So let's try this one. Now the legs are bent on this one. Hopefully we can bend them back. Toolbox is outside. That's not very useful. Take a chunk out of the desk while we're at it. There we go. See, I told you these resistors would come in handy. Right. So, again, this has got 3 contacts, and it's got a black one and a red one. So is that on negative and positive side, maybe? At least it seems to clamp into the tester, so let's press the button. Just thinking about it. Oh, that's a capacitor. 22.55 microfarad, ESR 1.5, I think that's good. 22 point, does it actually say? I can actually see a 22 just there, actually. It's just printed on there, although it has mostly rubbed off. So, okay, well, that seems to be working. Let's try the other 2 contacts. A 3-legged capacitor. By the way, if you are a 3-legged capacitor expert, as in an expert on 3-legged capacitors, not a capacitor expert that has 3 legs, yeah, do feel free to comment and put me out of my misery and let me know what these things are all about. But yeah, let's try the other 2 contacts now. Main problem is trying to maneuver it into the actual tester. There we go. Let's try that. Let's jam it in and press the button. But you can't even see the screen there. Yeah, unknown or damaged part or whatever. Anyway, so that's a capacitor with a 22.5 microfarad capacitance. So, and that does appear to tally with what's printed on the side as well. So that's quite useful to know. So I think that's pretty much all we have here in the box. Big thanks to Becky for your very kind donation. I'm sure there's some useful stuff. I know certainly like the resistors and the transistors and stuff will definitely be useful. Like I say, these big resistors are quite useful for old TVs and things like that, so definitely won't go to waste. Also, a few mystery objects in here that I need to investigate in a bit more detail. Sorry, just trying to move my component tester out of the way. Yeah, this obviously we've got a transformer. That's potentially quite useful as well for projects. This is really interesting, this 4-bit computer thingy, whatever it is. Unfortunately, not much of a... It's in very generic packaging, but that's from an Akai something or other. So yeah, perhaps a interesting one to investigate in the future. So let's just close that off. Got all these ICs here, got our resistors, got our strange little RF thing, some timing crystals, always useful. Yeah, so some quite interesting stuff. So I think that's it for now. I'm sure this video has dragged on long enough. Like I said, I didn't want to spend too much time editing it. Big thanks to Becky again for the donation. Definitely some useful stuff here. I hope that was of interest. If you're still with me right till the end of the video, thank you very much. It's very kind of you to stick with me. I hope you found this thing interesting. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I'm not expecting many, but you never know. Go check out the main channel, Control-Alt-Reese. I'll put a link to that here somewhere. I'll put a link so you can subscribe to this channel here, but of course that's also down below the video. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for now. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll hopefully see you again next time.